All right, let's talk about Florida. When you think of Florida, you're probably picturing sunshine, beaches, maybe some oranges, but for entrepreneurs like you and me, the real story, well, it's all in the numbers. So if you're even thinking about forming an LLC in the Sunshine State, you need to see the data we're about to break down.
So let's just start with this little fact to put things in perspective. If Florida was its own country, it would have the 15th largest economy on the entire planet. That's huge. So forget the vacation stereotypes for a second. When you decide to start a business here, you're not just opening up shop. You're plugging into a massive global economic powerhouse. That's the real stage we're talking about.
Okay, so a massive economy is one thing, but what's actually powering it? What's under the hood? Well, the answer is incredible diversity, and that creates a surprisingly stable launchpad for just about any kind of new business you can imagine.
I mean, just look at this list. You've got everything from tourism and agriculture, which you'd expect, all the way to aerospace and international banking. This is not a one-trick pony economy, not at all. That kind of diversity creates this really resilient environment where a new LLC can find its niche and actually get the support it needs to grow.
Okay, let's get right to it because this is what every founder wants to know first. What is this actually going to cost me? Let's break down the essential state fees for setting up a Florida LLC.
First up, your one-time filing fee with the state. It's going to be $125. That's what it takes to file your articles of organization and officially bring your LLC into existence. Pretty straightforward.
Now, the other key number you have to remember is the recurring cost, and that's your annual report fee, which is $138.75. This is the main fee you'll pay every single year to keep your company in good standing with the state, so definitely budget for that one.
And here it is. This is the big one. This is, arguably Florida's single biggest draw for entrepreneurs. So most LLCs are pass-through entities, which is just a fancy way of saying the profits flow directly to you, the owner. Well, in Florida, there is no state personal income tax, zero. The bottom line, that can mean some pretty significant savings hitting your personal bank account at the end of the year.
So you've got these pretty low initial costs and a massive tax advantage. But what's the catch? What are the trade-offs? Let's put everything out on the table, the good and the bad, so you can see the full picture and decide if Florida is actually the right fit for your business.
So let's break this down. On the pro side, you get that critical liability protection. That's the legal firewall between your business debts and your personal stuff. Your house, your car, that's huge. And of course, that massive tax benefit we just talked about. But here's the trade-off. And for some people, it's a big one: transparency. In Florida, your name and address are public record. There's no such thing as an anonymous LLC there, and if privacy is your #1 priority, that could be a deal breaker right there.
Okay, so when you weigh these really clear benefits against some very specific drawbacks, it brings us to the most important question of all. What kind of entrepreneur, what kind of business is the perfect match for a Florida LLC?
This right here, this is who thrives in Florida. The ideal Florida LLC owner is someone who says, you know what, the tax savings are way more important to me than personal privacy. It's for someone who absolutely needs that corporate shield to protect their assets and is perfectly okay with their info being out there in the public record. It's a fantastic choice for a ton of US-based and even international founders who fit that exact profile.
Look, picking a state is a huge first decision, but that's exactly what it is. The first decision. Once you've settled on Florida, the next set of choices you make are just as important for setting your business up for real, long-term success. And this is where things get really critical. At this point, you don't need another simple checklist or a step-by-step guide. What you need is unbiased data. And that's exactly why we built StartupSole. We exist to give you clear, data-driven comparisons of costs, benefits, and risks so you can choose the right partners with total confidence.
Think about it. Choosing your registered agent, that isn't just checking a box. It's about compliance, it's about privacy. And navigating federal taxes, that's about avoiding incredibly costly mistakes later on. These are foundational decisions, and StartupSole gives you those data-driven comparisons to help you get them right from the very start.
Building a US company is a major, major step. You can't afford to base it on incomplete information or just a gut feeling. Visit us at en.startupsole.com. You can see the full data picture for yourself and compare the services you actually need. Make your decision with confidence because building the right foundation, it isn't just about saving money on taxes, it's about setting the entire trajectory for everything that comes next.